There are many contributing factors in regards to the upbringing of a false confession. Coercion, falsified information, threats, and even mental inabilities all play a major role in the creation of a false statement. A false confession usually occurs when a suspect willingly confesses having any involvement in a crime to either avoid any implications at that moment or to gain a promised reward at a later time, such as immunity or mercy. This case is frowned upon by practitioners within the judicial system for their overall procedure of seeking and securing a confession. Though there are many cases in which suspects have been coerced into giving a false confession, we will be looking at a more intricate case as the details of this crime is still left a mystery years after. This is the coerced case of William Hurt. On June 17, 2012, police would discover the lifeless body of 54-year-old Marcus Golike after he washed up on the northern bank of the Ohio River located in Kentucky. The circumstances surrounding his death were quite peculiar, as Marcus was found with his hat stuffed into his pocket, and his personal belongings like his wallet and keys were missing. 4 teenagers were questioned in connection, being the last people to see Marcus before his death: William, Deirdre, Andrea, and Harley. They each were taken into custody and questioned by Evansville homicide detectives. Though Deirdre, Andrea, and Harley's interrogation footage has been suppressed, William's interrogation, however, became public.
To hire a lawyer, want to be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not to answer any questions or make any statements. Okay, would you sign here to show that I read that to you? All that's stating is that I read you your Miranda rights.
In the beginning of this interrogation, William is seated across from 2 notorious homicide detectives, Wise and Jones. They afford William no sympathy, not even offering anything to eat or drink for the hours he will have to endure in this tiny room. The detective advises William of his rights, clarifying that he doesn't have to speak if he doesn't want to. William willingly agrees to discuss the matter, signing away his rights to counsel through a written agreement. A suspect's willingness to aid the investigation is often a telltale sign of innocence, but as we've witnessed multiple times on this channel, many criminals will often do this in order to misguide the initial direction of the investigation. So, it is up to both William to prove his innocence and the detective to make the right decision based on his evaluation.
Okay, but now's the real important part. Now's when I want you to be honest and not skip any details. Tell me everything, okay? Don't leave anything out. Okay? Go ahead.
What do you want?
When you got home.
When I got home, I walked in and Mark was sitting on my kitchen table. He was eating a bucket of macaroni salad because I had hugged my mom at that time to tell her that I loved her and I was home. And then after that, I sat down at the kitchen table. I was sitting with my mom and we were sitting there talking. And then after a while, Mom said she had to go to bed.
Who all was in the kitchen?
It was me, Mark, Harley, Wade, the foster chicken. He was in there for about 10 minutes.
Okay, let's back up again. So you left that out. I really want everything. This is very important, okay? I want every little detail. You come in the house, you said your mom and Mark were in the kitchen.
Yes.
At that time, when you entered the door, who was in the kitchen?
It was Stephen, my little brother, my mom, and Mark.
Okay.
And after I come in, sat down, Harley, he walked in and grabbed something.
Where did he come from?
The living room.
Okay.
He had walked in, and then he grabbed something. He started moving stuff around, like cleaning up a little bit. Then he grabbed his Sunny D and walked back out.
Grabbed his ID?
It's Sunny D. It's
Sunny D, a drink.
Yeah.
And then he walked out.
Yeah.
How long was he in the kitchen?
About 5-10 minutes.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then after that, me and we got to talking. Stephen was taking playing cards and throwing them really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, after he got done doing that, me and Mark played a game of chess, which lasted about half an hour almost. And then after that, my mom said she was going to bed, and that was like right in the middle of our game.
Okay.
And then Mark, because his eyes were bad, he couldn't see the board very well because of the lighting. And then he just surrendered. And then I shook his hand, and I started talking to him for a little bit. And after probably about 20 minutes of talking, he just said he was going to leave. He grabbed a container of instant coffee, filled up the thing with water, and then just...
Was your mom there to witness this?
No, she was in bed.
Okay. Because she told me about it. You sure she wasn't there when the container of coffee came out?
Well, she gave the container of coffee to him. I remember that.
Okay, remember I told you I wanted specific details, okay?
Okay.
That's something you left out. I don't want you leaving anything else out.
The detective begins to reveal the first contradiction in William's alibi. This minor correction is usually brought to attention when a suspect finishes his or her story to prevent the suspect from shutting down completely. Here, we observe Detective Wise and Jones attack William's alibi not even 20 minutes into the interrogation. What's interesting is William doesn't even seem to react to the detective's statements. Instead, he continues as if nothing even happened. What's more intriguing is that we will be able to document the slow deterioration of William's alibi as time goes by. He continues his story, barely acknowledging the contradiction the detective has brought to his attention.
As my mom was going to bed, Mark asked about coffee, and then she was digging around in the cabinet and grabbed an instant coffee container that had about this much coffee left in it. And then she said he could have it.
Okay.
And then after that, we talked for a little bit. And then he filled up the container, started around, drank some, said he was leaving. I shook his hand again until I'll see him around. And then he got on his shoes and walked out the back door.
Walked out the back door?
Yes.
Okay. Where was Harley at this time?
He was in his room.
He was in his room. How do you know that?
Because as I was walking to the table, he went into his room for a little bit. Because usually when mom goes to bed, everybody else kind of follows and goes to bed.
Okay. Where was Stephen?
He was already in bed asleep, I believe.
Okay. And did he leave the kitchen?
He left before me and Mark started playing Emojis.
He left before that?
Yes.
Okay. So you're kind of all over the place. You know, you're not telling it step by step. I've got to pull you in on this stuff. I don't like doing that, okay? All right.
And then after that, after Mom went to bed, instead of talking for a little bit like I just said, then he filled up the instant coffee container, said he was leaving, so I shook his hand, and he walked out there, put his shoes on, and walked out the back door.
Okay.
And that's the last I'd seen him.
Where was Andrea?
Andrea, she was upstairs asleep.
Where was Deidre?
I don't know where Deidre was.
And that's the last time you saw him?
That's the last time I saw him, yes. So after he left, I went down to my room about 1 o'clock, and then I fell asleep after I fed my rabbit and watched a little TV.
Okay. At what time do you think he left?
It was probably about 12:30.
12:30? So what did you do from 12:30 to 1 o'clock?
We sat there and talked.
Who?
Me and Mark.
All right, he left at 12:30, you said. You went to your bedroom at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, he was getting to leave at 12:30, and then we started talking again for like 15 minutes, and then he said he was leaving about 12:45, 12:50. He walked out the back door, and I went down to my room. I sleep in the basement.
What did you guys talk about?
We talked about football pros and how bad the teams were doing, how bad some of the teams were doing, and some of the teams were good, and that they called the lost Peyton Manning and how good of a quarterback he was, and his brother's starting to catch up to him. That was about it.
Okay. And you went to bed. What's the next noise you hear?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Okay. Do you have any kind of disabilities?
Do I? I do have clubfoot.
Okay. Any mental disabilities?
Not mental, no.
Okay. You make decent grades?
Yes, I do. I actually graduated as a junior.
Okay, that's good.
At this point, William has yet to show any form of self-preservation. The detectives believe William to be their culprit, but seems frustrated that he isn't displaying any guilty characteristics. This eventually results in the detective inquiring further into William's mental health, to which William responds with, He graduated as a junior, implying he is fully cognitive and functional. This type of information is usually gathered beforehand in order to deal with the situation more accordingly.
I'll tell you what, you got inconsistencies with some of the stories you're telling.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You want to be straight with me this time?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. For about 9:45, we had to close at 9:30. I was cleaning up, and then Nyla, my store manager, I think you met her. She was the lady who was the blonde little lady, old lady. And then she said, you can go ahead and leave. Steve's going to be here. Steve's her husband. And she said she wanted me to go catch my bus. So I walked out the back door of Licks. I walked across the mall parking lot to the back, to the Dillage wing, to wait for the buses. And then I got on the Lawndale bus. The Lawndale bus, they took me all the way around Walmart, and then we went back around to the mall on Lincoln, and then we took down Green River, and then we turned into the Lawndale area. Then I got off the bus. I waited for every bus to get there except for the Riverside bus. The Riverside bus is always the last one to get through. Then after that, I got on the bus. We left. We went down South Green River, turned on Riverside, and then started letting people off. Some people got on. Then we got to my stop. I got off. I started walking home. I walked in, seen Marcus sitting at the kitchen table after I'd hugged my mom and told her that I loved her and told her that I was home. He was eating a bucket of macaroni salad, and he was sitting there talking to Steve and talking to Mom, having a good time. I sat down at the table at the opposite end, and then Steven, after he got done throwing those cards around or whatever, he left. Me and Mark started playing a game of chess, and then Harley walked in, grabbed some, started cleaning up a little bit because this is a kitchen. He grabbed a Sunny D, went to the living room again. About 25, 30 minutes after he had left, we were sitting there playing the game still. About half an hour it took, and Mark surrendered because he couldn't see the board anymore. Then after that, we started talking about football pros and how bad they're doing, how good some of the teams are doing, how the Colts have lost Manning, and how Eli is starting to catch up to him. And then he said he had to leave. Crap. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I've never dealt with this stuff before.
Well, I'll tell you, you're dealing with something here that I think you're being withholding a little information.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never dealt with any of this stuff before.
Okay. Well, you need to deal with it straight up, okay? Be honest. It's the best way to do this. Okay?
Was this true?
Okay?
Okay. And before we started playing the game of chess, my mom said that she was going to bed, and Mark had asked her to go make more coffee, and she was rummaging around in the little cabinet, and she said, here, you can have this instant coffee. Not that much left, and after we were starting to play the game some more, and then he surrendered, and he filled up the instant coffee maker, filled the instant coffee, started around, I started talking a little bit as soon as we got to the back door. I shook his hand again, told him goodbye, see him around. Then he walked out the back screen door. I seen him put his shoes on, I washed them, walk out the back door, then I went down to my room, fed my rabbit, watched TV, and went to sleep. That's the last I'd seen.
Harley. You said earlier Harley's door shut. After you went to bed. You're leaving out some stuff, all right? I've been patient with you. It's time to tell it all. It's time to be honest. You understand we know more than what you think?
Oh, I already know, yeah. I have a feeling you guys already know more than I think, because you guys are detectives.
What do you think we know?
Well, I think you know what happened to Mark. And I think you don't know necessarily what happened. Not like all what happened. I know you guys know the exact time and dates he was there, and some of the stuff that he has done within that past week. That's about all I know.
What do you mean some of the stuff that he's done in the past week?
Well, from what he had told me in the interview that I had with him, that there was no possible way that he could have been there on the 16th because he had known where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I know.
Well, let me jump in here. You told me in our interview, which is taped, that Harley was wanting to try to play chess with Marcus, and that he was asking him to play chess. You never mentioned that once so far. You also told me after you went to bed that you heard Harley's door shut shortly after that as he was going to bed. You never said that. You said he walked out the back door, okay, and then right there as you're saying he walks out the back door, that's where you're hesitating, and that's where the lie starts. Because you want to know why? Because when you're remembering your bus ride, you're remembering all this stuff, man, you're looking to the right, which is drawn from memory. As soon as you get to the back door, you're looking left with your eyes and everything else. You're lying. I mean, that's where you're starting to make up the story. That's where you're fabricating it at. Okay? An interesting comment you made a while ago. I haven't dealt with this before. Well, no, you haven't dealt with this before. Because if you are, then we got a real problem. So, this is the deal. William, we know what happened. We know who did it. And we know that you're part of it.
How am I part of it?
Well, we know this. Now.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
And so you're a part of it by withholding information. That makes you a big part of it. All right?
Okay. I thought like I had done something physically to him. I mean, I don't harm my family at all.
We're not saying you did hurt your family, but we're saying that you're part of it because you know what's going on and you're not helping us out.
As William recalls the exact moments leading up to the hours before the crime, the detective again presents multiple details that have been left out of William's alibi from his original statement. They perceive this as a sign of guilt and start ramping up the psychological pressure once again. The detectives are essentially demanding that William oculesics and kinesics are that of a guilty suspect. The detective begins to ask open-ended questions, allowing William to fill in the blanks. This is the start of detective's coercive tactics that inevitably incriminates William as he begins to answer these questions.
William, here's the deal. Like I told you earlier, you know, about people helping us out and people not. Man, you're going to end up hemming yourself up in this. Okay, by withholding information and everything else.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to cover up for somebody and if you're trying to keep something secret,
I'm not trying to cover up.
Just listen and hear me out, okay? If you know something, if I don't care if it's Harley done something, I don't care if it's, you know, Andrew, I don't care who it was, and you know about it, you know, and this ends up turning south, then you know you can get in trouble for this, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you're wanting to come clean, right now is the time to come clean, and, I mean, with the Detective Antwin sitting here talking to you, there's so many inconsistencies in your story right now that I have a hard time believing anything you're saying. Honestly, I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
So, why would I want to sit here and believe you when you're so inconsistent?
I'm changing the story.
Yeah, you're inconsistent. You're leaving parts out. You're changing the story. I mean, you're fabricating. I mean, I can tell by looking at your eyes, you're fabricating parts of this up. Right when you get to the point, he walked out the back door. That's when you start fabricating. Everything else, I believe, happened that night. Like I told you earlier, when I interviewed you earlier, I said, you know, hey, man, I believe you all sat down and played chess. I believe the coffee. I believe everything else. I do not believe that after he walked out this back door, that was the end of everything. Okay? Something happened that night. We know what happened that night, and it happened around that residence. Someone in that residence is involved. You are involved now because
I'm withholding information.
you're withholding the information. Now, do you want to be involved in the crime?
No, I don't.
Then you need to start telling us everything you know, because you're not telling us everything you know.
Do you want me to start from?
I want you to tell me what part you're leaving out, what happened that night, what you heard, and everything. I don't care what you tell me as of right now. You understand that?
Yes.
Because the only thing you're going to do is if you tell me everything, is help yourself out. You're not helping us out no more. We already know everything now.
Yeah.
You didn't do this to me earlier. You didn't give me everything earlier. So we went, like I told you, we started an investigation. We did everything ourselves. So, yeah, I mean, as far as you know, helping me out, you've not done it so far. The only way you're going to change my mind in this whole deal is if you tell me verbatim what's happened. Because as of right now, man, your eye contact, you got way too much eye contact. I mean, this is not normal. Okay?
Yeah.
You staring a hole right through, Detective Ventland the whole time you've been talking to him, that's not normal. Okay? You're staring there staring at me the whole time, that's not normal. Okay? We can pick up on your body language, all your deception and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I'm telling you, if somebody threatened you, not to tell us or whatever, man.
Nobody's threatening me.
Well, promise you, threatened you, coerced you, anything.
Honestly, I don't know what I'm withholding.
Well,
I'm being honest.
You agreed with us that you were withholding something.
yeah.
But I don't know what it is. Because I'm just I want this case to end because I'm trying to help you guys figure out what happened. You guys already know what happened.
As detectives try to convince William he's leaving out valuable information, William believes the detectives know exactly what happened to Marcus. This is simply not true. Detectives will often exaggerate the authenticity of evidence in order to coax someone into admitting any sign of guilt, involvement, or even seek a reaction. In this case, detectives are still awaiting DNA analysis to return as well as an autopsy report. So, if detectives truly knew what happened, their line of questions would be much different. So, William tries to elaborate his story yet again.
After Mom had told everyone to go to bed, I heard the door shut. I seen Stephen go into his room, and then I heard Andrea and Kara. They were walking upstairs, and then I heard Harley coming through the hallway. I heard his door shut, and then soon after that, about 5-10 minutes, Mark surrendered in a game of chess. Shook his hand. We got up on the table. I walked around. I got something to drink. Then I sat back down at the table, and then he sat back down, and then we started talking about the football pros. And soon after that, he got back up. He filled the coffee container with water. And I shook his hand again. I saw him, see him around, and he walked out the back door. And after he did that, I watched him leaving everything. After he did that, I walked down to the basement. I fed my rabbit. I went to bed.
Still, you have not answered my question. You said in an earlier statement you heard Harley's door shut after you went to bed. Is that true or not true?
Harley's door shut after I went to bed.
After you went to your room?
No, it's not true.
Not true.
Okay, you told me that on an earlier recorded interview, and we hit that fact. Then when I asked you that question just not even 5 minutes ago, you said yes, that's what happened.
You ever go down to river camps?
Mm-hmm. No.
Never been there in your life?
No.
Never. Would your sisters go?
What do you mean river camps?
Down in Weinbach?
Oh, no. I've never been down there.
Never?
No.
Has your sisters been?
Probably Deidre, because she said she was going camping down by the river a couple times with her friends.
Okay. Harley ever been down there?
No.
You're sure?
From what I know about Harley, no. He hasn't told me anything about that.
What about the mud on your shoes there?
That's from doing yard work yesterday. I do
Let
yard...
me see the bottom of your shoe. Pull it off if you don't care.
What kind of yard work do you do?
I usually, these are my work shoes, so I wear them to work, and sometimes after I get off work, my grandma's boyfriend goes to pick me up. I mow their lawn, dust is flying everywhere, and then yesterday I was in the landscaping, picking up weeds out of the landscaping, and dirt was getting all over them, and we have a chicken coop out back, as you know, and I walk in there, and I feed them, and they'll kick dirt up on my shoes and all that other stuff.
Now, if I go down to the river camp, am I going to find that shoe print anywhere?
Probably not. So I've never been down to the river camps any day in my life.
What do you mean probably not? I'm not going to find that shoe print.
Because there are shoes like this all over Evansville. It's not necessarily got to match up to mine.
Well, I'm pretty sure yours is only patent number 7,846,493 with a size 10 with a wavy sole pattern, wavy airspeed.
I promise you will not find any footprints of mine down at the river camp. I promise you that.
The detective notices dirt on William's shoes. He then asks if his shoe prints will be found at the scene of the crime, to which William confidently disagrees, going as far as removing his shoes to show the detective he isn't hiding anything. The more they persuade William that he is being untruthful, the more William starts to second guess his own story. Here, we will observe William change details of his alibi as the interrogation continues.
Something's troubling you, more than you're telling us. I can see it.
I get it off your
Something's
chest.
bothering you.
Get it off your chest.
So you guys are just interrogating me constantly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's getting on my nerves.
Okay.
What you need to get it off your chest.
I know, I'm not involved in this. Okay,
Who is?
so-
Who's involved in it?
nobody I know of.
Did Harley do something to him?
No, not that I know of. Because after I went to bed, I went to sleep, I don't remember anything. I don't remember, after I go to bed, I just black out, I just wake up. Not like necessarily black out, but I just go to sleep, and when I'm really tired, I'm a heavy sleeper.
William, you said in an earlier statement also that you didn't think you could pass a polygraph. Do you think that's true, that you couldn't pass a polygraph?
As nervous as I get when I'm put on the spot.
It doesn't matter, it accounts for that. It accounts for that. Polygraphs are good. They'll tell if you're lying or not.
Polygraphs are non-admissible evidence, meaning they aren't reliable evidence that can be used in a court of law. Scientific studies from the 1980s implies humans being able to frequently change their emotions, perception of reality, and attitude. Therefore, polygraphs cannot accurately depict nor determine deceptive behavior, as an innocent person can display guilty characteristics and vice versa.
I'm already going to tell you, because when you guys were talking to Mom alone, okay, I was sitting in the living room, and I heard you guys talking about the funeral. I already know he's dead.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I know from that part. I heard you guys talking about the funeral, and the plans to be made for it, and that he's in Madisonville.
Okay.
Anything from that about Mark, I do not know. I know that he has mental issues, and that he does not like riding in vehicles.
How did he die?
I don't know.
No idea?
No. I also know that he was found in the river.
How'd you know that?
Because when I get updates on my phone, it says a man was found in the river. I looked at it, and it looked like it could have been him, but I wasn't sure. And then
You saw a picture of him?
I didn't necessarily see the picture, but I got the notification on my phone that had said a man was found in the river. This is while I was at work. Because it went off, and I was on break. I looked at it. The thing popped up, and then as soon as I seen it pop up, I clicked it off, because I was going back to work at that time.
Okay. Did you know it was Marcus at that time?
No, I did not know it was Marcus that was found in the river. I know he gone missing, and that I honestly thought he was still alive at that point.
How did you know he went missing already?
Because Mom had told me.
Because you're already saying that was Marcus in the Ohio River. How you know he's in the Ohio River? I never said nothing about it.
I mean, I just took a guess. I don't necessarily know.
You said a while ago you knew.
I said
I knew that was Marcus.
I said it could have possibly been. I didn't say I knew for a fact. I also know that he was found in the river.
How'd you know that?
Because when I get updates on my phone, it says a man was found in the river. I looked at it, and it looked like it could have been him, but I wasn't sure.
A while ago, when Detective Van asked you, is there anything else you know? You said, all I know is he was found in the Ohio River. That's all you said. That was your exact statement.
I went off of this, because I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that notification pop up on my phone.
Man, you're going to end up hemming yourself up. Bad.
Oh my god. I fucking hate this. I'm not involved in this anyway.
William now reveals that he had information of Marcus being found in the river days prior. We observe yet another contradiction moments after detectives start to question him on his own knowledge. Whether William is lying or telling the truth, He confidently elaborates how he came to this information, all whilst challenging the detectives. Many may speculate that these small moments are crucial in understanding a timeline pertaining to a false confession. Here, we observe William in high spirits putting up a fight, proclaiming his innocence.
Who was involved in it?
Earlier you told us you were.
How was I involved in?
You said you were involved.
Okay, I talked to him. Okay, look, I'll start from the beginning. I'll give you exactly everything that I know.
Is it going to be the same story we've already heard?
Yes, possibly. Oh my God.
Okay, look. I want to know what happened to Marcus. I think at one time you cared about him, all right? And you still care about him, all right? I need to find out what happened to him. We need to know. We need to know how much you're involved in this. We need to know if you're the one that harmed him.
I'm not the one that harmed him.
Do you know who did?
No, I don't.
I think you're leaving something out.
I don't know. I'm being serious. I'm telling the truth, man. I don't know who harmed him. After he left, I don't... Oh, my God.
Who do you think would harm him?
I don't know who would have. Anyone in the house? Is that what you're asking? If anyone in the house would have harmed him?
I left that open to you.
Nobody
brought up in the house. Did somebody in the house harm him? What about your dad?
He wouldn't harm Mark. He wouldn't.
Your mom?
No. Nobody in the house would harm him.
Nobody?
Nobody.
Harley?
Nobody. Not even him. He's been locked up in DOC and stuff like that because he's a priority 3 foster kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's the highest threat.
Yeah.
And he's always talked to me about being there and being in other locked-up facilities, but he hasn't talked about harming Mark in any way. He hasn't even talked about Mark.
Did he talk about harming anybody?
No.
Oh, no, he said there told me earlier he brags about fighting and everything else.
Well, from what I know, he's not going to harm anybody around my house.
Okay, he talks about fighting and brags about it, correct?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Does he ever brag about choking anybody, punching anybody, kicking anybody specifically?
Just fighting himself.
Okay. What does he brag about? What about fighting?
He just loves to fight. He doesn't necessarily say anything about like what he loves. He just loves to avoid pain on people.
He likes to inflict pain on people.
From fighting, yes.
Okay. Here's the deal. You say you like Marcus, right?
Yes.
He's a family member, basically.
Yes.
All right.
Technically.
How long you known Harley?
How long have I known Harley? A couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
You get to know a person pretty well in a couple weeks?
No.
You're right. You don't. Okay. Now you got to decide who you're wanting to help here, okay?
I want to help Marcus.
Okay. The last thing I want to do is throw somebody in jail that's innocent.
Yeah.
All right? You understand me?
Yes.
I don't want to do that. That would go against all my beliefs. But I need to know what happened and what you really believe about Harley, because I don't think you're being honest about Harley. You're really not. You know he's capable, and he's probably got the attitude to hurt somebody.
He does have the attitude to hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen, yes, he does.
Okay.
He gets mad really easy. I've seen that too.
Okay.
These coercive tactics applied by detectives essentially gives William an ultimatum. Either help detectives by telling them what they want to hear, or go to jail for not telling detectives what they want to hear. William has stated multiple times his encounter with Marcus and Harley, but detectives continue to question William on the same topics, waiting for a specific answer. They begin to use open-ended questions which allow William to fill in the blanks. We now witness a firm statement turn into a question of his own belief.
I'm not going to tell anybody anything, what you're going to tell me next, okay? But I want you to be honest with me. Debbie's not going to find out. Ron's not going to find out. Nobody's going to find out.
Okay.
I want to know what Harley's done wrong in that house.
Harley has him and my big sister. They clash because they have bad attitudes at times. They clash at times, and he gets mad, and he'll just leave the room. He'll leave the room and go to his room, cool off for about 15 minutes, and he'll come back and he's happy-go-lucky. That's how he is.
So he's never done anything wrong in that home? the guy that has a troubled past, like him, been in so much trouble, he's an angel in your house, I don't believe that for a second. I think you're still covering for him, and I'm getting fed up with it. You need to tell me what he did wrong. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to squeal him out. I want to know what he's done wrong in that home. All right?
The only thing he's done wrong is get smart with my sister constantly.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. He does all his chores.
He does all his chores.
He doesn't smoke cigarettes, weed.
He doesn't smoke. He may smoke weed, but I'm not for sure.
All right, let's expand on that. How might he smoke weed? How might you suspect that?
When he first came here, he has said he smokes weed. He has said he would love to do it again, and he said if he knew somebody, he would go get some right now.
Okay. And you know what I'm going to do about that? Nothing. I don't care. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't care. What else has he done wrong in that home? He's not an angel. I know he's not an angel.
I know he's not. He's got a troubled past. I know that he's been in lockup. He's been in lockup since he was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But other than that, when we start with my sister and talking about smoking weed, obtaining it, and doing all this other stuff with weed, I don't know.
You don't know?
I do not know.
He's not done anything else wrong? He's not snuck out at night?
Not from what I know. At all.
What do you suspect?
Why do you have to bite your lip when you talk?
My lips are dry from talking.
No, you had to bite your lip to give that statement just now.
You're qualifying your answers. It's not working for me, okay?
The detectives is referring to this physical response known as lip biting, or also known as body-focused repetitive behavior, as qualifying his answers. Lip biting, nail biting, hair pulling, and skin peeling are all forms of BFRB, but doesn't necessarily mean there's any psychopathy behind it. Emotional responses such as anxiety, fear, embarrassment, or even a lack of self-confidence can all cause a person to create a physical response. The detectives perceive this as a sign of guilt and continues to scold William on his deceptive behavior.
He's done more than that. A kid like him doesn't just stop. They keep doing stuff, all right? And they can't help themselves. It may not be their fault, all right? It may be the way they were brought up. But somehow, he's a troubled child, and he's caused some problems there, and I think you're still covering for him.
I'm not covering for him.
What else has he done wrong? I know you see some stuff.
Not that I know of.
He's never snuck out at night. Never left.
If he snuck out, I'm asleep.
Okay, so you don't know.
If he's done anything else, I'm asleep, because I usually go to bed around 10 to 12 o'clock. Usually it's 10.
Okay.
How's it 10 o'clock when you work all the time? Till 10?
That's only on the days I don't work. On the days I do work, I don't go to bed till about 11, 12.
Earlier you told me, our other interview, I think I read it on 3 times. What time was you home that night? You said 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 3 times you told me that. In a recorded interview in my car. Mm-hmm. That night you told me 10 o'clock. Now you're saying that you're not getting home till 11:30.
What time do you think you got home?
It was about, on that day it was about 11:30.
About 11:30?
11:30 p.m.
That is an hour and a half difference.
What did I say 11:30?
When?
Yeah.
Well, ago when you just playing your bus ride across town, when you went to Walmart and
that was
you got another bus.
Thursday. You're going off what I told you about Saturday.
You know.
But
hey,
if I'm the last person that's seen it, why does that automatically make me a suspect?
Enough to get a warrant to bring you in, is what I'm saying.
I know.
I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to charge you with
I already
something.
know you guys think I'm a suspect because my hand's swollen and I'm fortifying the truth or
okay. Suspect of what?
That I did something to Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Or helped in any way to possibly kill Mark. Well, kill now, but harm him in any way at that point.
Well, you know what? I really do after that statement, because not one time have either one of us said anything about killing.
Oh my God, really?
No.
Cooking shit, man.
Not one time.
Seriously.
You just brought that up on your own.
Oh my God.
It's time for honesty.
We're just doing, all we're doing is an investigation.
I know you guys are.
We're doing an investigation concerning Marcus.
We're looking out for Marcus right now.
I know you guys are. I'm trying to help him too. If I did anything to harm him, I don't know. Honestly, don't.
You're giving us a lot of information that usually a completely innocent person wouldn't do.
If you did anything to harm Marcus, you really don't know, is what you just said. What kind of statement is that?
Because after what you guys are saying, you think I did something to Marcus.
That's what you just said. If I did anything to harm Marcus, I don't know.
I did not harm Marcus in any way possible. After
No,
he left,
that's
I
not
went
what
to
you just
sleep.
said.
My gosh.
The downward spiral of William's mental health continues to descend. As detectives continue to berate William time after time, they approach the first hour of the interrogation, and detectives decide to step out momentarily. They apply yet another layer of psychological pressure before exiting the room, leaving William to prepare himself for the next part.
I'm gonna be honest, I have terrible memory when it comes to time and date.
You have a terrible lying problem, is what you got.
I know. Honestly.
You have a very terrible lying problem, because you know what? You're lying about this right now. Because, you know, I just called you out on that, and you're the one that's sitting there saying that you left and went and got RC up the road. But that's not what you're telling me, okay? You're sitting there saying Marcus walked out the back door, I went to bed, then Harley's door shut, now Harley went to bed while you was playing chess, then you start, you know, I didn't go nowhere that night, I went straight to bed and I blacked out. But I don't really black out, but I'm a sound sleeper is what you said. But now you're saying, you know what, I went down the road and got me a 12-pack RC, and then came back to the house.
Oh my God. I honestly do not know if I did something, I do not know about it.
Well, maybe you did something to him you don't know about it. You ever think about that?
Yes.
So you could have harmed Marcus and not know anything about it.
Oh my gosh.
Is that what you're saying? Like, could you have harmed Marcus on accident, playing around with him or something and hurt him? Could you have done that?
Yes, I didn't play around with him. I played a game of chess, we talked, and we left.
Could you have done that? Because you don't know anything you're doing right now, apparently. After 11 o'clock at night, could you have hurt Marcus on accident? Could you have hurt Marcus on accident? Answer the question. Could you have hurt Marcus on accident?
After I went to bed?
Oh, after you went to bed and we went and got RCs, whenever.
When I go to bed, I have time sleepwalking, but by the time I went to bed, he was down the street. I don't walk that fast. I have clubfoot.
Could you have hurt Marcus on accident?
Yes, I could have. But I know for a fact I didn't.
William, if this was an accident, if something happened and it's an accident, okay, it's an accident. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If someone else did something and it was an accident, we can work with that. I told you that a while ago.
Yes.
If this is a stone cold malicious act, we're going to work on it different. You understand that?
Yes, I understand it.
You're telling me right now you could have harmed Marcus and not known about it.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure if I harmed somebody, I'd know about it in any way, shape, or form. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. You're telling me you don't know. What happened? There's something you're not telling me. There's a part you're leaving out.
Call it in my memory.
Why can't you call what you did to him?
I didn't do anything to him.
You're telling me right now you could have.
I could have.
Yeah.
Well, for a fact, I didn't.
I ain't gonna sit here and make a statement to you that I could have done something if I know damn well and good I didn't do it. But you're telling me that you could have done it.
Oh my gosh.
Remember earlier when I asked you about the DNA, if I could find any of your DNA on Mark?
Yes.
What was your answer?
I don't remember. I'll be honest.
Okay, let me re-ask you the question. If I go and take Mark and I, lift all the DNA off of him, all over his body, clothes, everything else, where could I find your DNA at on Mark?
On his hand in the back of his shirt, because I patted him on the back of his shirt and I shook his hand after the chess match.
Am I going to find it anywhere else?
No.
Are you positive about that?
Yes, I'm positive.
I'm not going to find your fingerprints anywhere?
No.
You realize that stuff stays on there for a long time, right?
I realize it does, yes.
Okay. This is the deal. If the first one that cracks is going to be the lucky duck. The second one that cracks might be all right. The third one definitely ain't going to be all right. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you want to talk about going to jail and everything else, wait till you're number 3. Then you're going to see a lot of jail time. Number 1 might be lucky. right now, you're not number one. Something's happened to him. I know something's happened to him. You know something about it. And you need to tell us, because I'm telling you right now, William, right now you're 18 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. If something is screwed up, someone screwed up, you know about it, you've done something, or might have done something, but you really don't know, which I ain't believing that by no means, by the way. If you've done something, or know about it, man, I'm telling you, you want to be the first person to come forward. Because right now, what we're going to do, we already had your mom down here earlier talking to her. You know that. Okay? Right now, she's going to help us the most. You can be there too. We're down there talking to Deidre right now. I'm sure she's going to help us. You're not helping us at all. And we're going to interview everybody in the house. We're going to interview the whole family. We're going to interview everybody on the block. We're going to interview the people at the Kangaroo Store. We're going to review everything. We're going to go down there and we're going to pull all the videos and everything else and see if you and Marcus was down there at the Kangaroo Store.
I didn't go anywhere with him that night.
Well, if Marcus was down there at the Kangaroo Store, then you walked in right there after him. And then say you went together.
I didn't go anywhere that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to keep my emotions under control.
We're going to step out. You sit in here. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Talk to you. You need to do some real heavy thinking real quick.
Need some soul searching.
Some real heavy thinking.
2 grounds. You need to help Mark, help yourself. You know what I mean?
Nobody else matters in this besides you and Mark right now. You got to look out for yourself. You got to help Mark.
But I'm trying to help Mark.
Look, we're done. You wait 5 minutes. We'll be back, okay?
You really need to think about this.
William was left inside the small room for 40 minutes before detectives would return. The detectives finally return, and a somewhat anxious William can be seen ready to tell it all. He starts from the beginning and recalls everything from that specific day.
Well, you ain't soul searching? And?
I'll tell you guys all that I know.
Okay.
Where do you want me to start?
Where we haven't heard anything before, where it's going to be new and fresh.
Okay.
The information we're looking for.
Information you're looking for.
William begins to elaborate the same story with nothing added or excluded. Detectives are not happy with this response as they were expecting a much different answer. They begin to get frustrated and continue the psychological warfare until he begins to crack.
Exactly. I don't remember anything else after that.
What? I mean, I got one thing to say. What the hell are you talking about? Because you started off this story. As soon as we walked in here, I'm going to tell you everything that happened that night. I honestly went to bed. The next day, I played poker with my family. And then we started... When did you start this story? Because the next day you played poker with your family, then somehow you reverted back to when you was working 2 days before, and then you come home and Marcus is home, and then you coming back to this, and then you coming back to this, and you're saying you went downstairs and went straight to bed. That's all you remember. But a while ago you remember going downstairs and feeding your rabbit and everything else before you went to bed. And what's you telling that at?
You're all over the board.
What you just told me doesn't make good sense to me.
At all. It was almost better before when you was lying your ass off to us than it is now. I mean, that didn't make no sense at all. Did it make sense to you?
I heard a tail end of the story than the start of the story.
Yeah.
After the tail end. Because I don't think you can help yourself. I don't think you can help yourself by what you're saying. I'm looking at this two ways. You're our guy that harmed him, no doubt about it. You're the evil son of a bitch that needs to go to prison forever, or you're helping somebody else. You're holding information back, helping somebody else. I think your loyalty is leaning towards someone else in this, and not Mark. Your loyalty needs to be for Mark right now. Maybe you did something wrong you should have done, and Mark wouldn't like you for it, but you know what? That's where we can deal with it. We can deal with it right now. If you keep holding back, and it seems like you're protecting somebody to me, it seems like it. You don't tell us the full story every time, and you talk in circles. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's something that you're not telling me, and I can sense it, I can tell it. And you understand, that's obstruction of justice.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. All right. The very least, that's obstruction of justice. We get somebody in here and proves you're a liar, I'll come after you. I'll come after you. All right? If you tell me right now what's going on, let's work with it. We can work with it. Okay? I think you know more than you're telling us. I know you know more than you're telling us. I just know it. All your body language, the way you're answering, your mannerisms, we go to schools on this stuff. We learn that. Okay? And you're not telling us what we need to hear. You're just not.
Even if you didn't do anything to Marcus, and you're helping somebody by covering it up and not telling us, it's the same thing as you doing something to him. Now, if you want to live with that, that's on you. Yeah, it's still obstruction of justice. No. I'm talking moral value here. Morals. I'm not talking about criminal, I'm talking about morals. If you know something, and you're not going to tell us because you're too proud to say it, or you want to protect somebody, it's the same thing as doing something to him. You understand that? I understand it. I don't try to protect anybody. Well, no. You said you wanted to help us out. You want to help Marcus out. I want to help you guys out. Well, you're not doing a good job of it.
For the next 30 minutes, detectives begin to berate and belittle William for not giving them the information they want to hear. This is done by making fun of William's upbringing, false allegations, and threats if he doesn't tell the truth. Here is a quick compilation of a few of the verbal tactics the detectives use to try and force a confession.
You are not doing a good job of it at all. And frankly, I'm kind of getting a little sick of the way you're talking around in circles and everything else. Because I've heard the same crap for the last almost 2 hours now of what you did that night and more or less what you didn't do that night. Because you already admitted you're a compulsive bad liar. I mean, you admitted that more than one time. I mean, you're telling me you could have done something, you could have not done something. I asked you about your shoes. Yeah, they might be down there, shoe print like mine, down by the river, okay? Then you're saying he was killed. We never said he was killed. No one ever has said he's been killed. No one ever said he was in the Ohio River. You're the one that came up, well, yeah, I know he was in the Ohio River, okay? At this point, I do not believe anything right now. You understand that? I'm neutral. You think that I'm holding something that could help save? No, I know you are. Okay, you know that I'm holding something that could save my butt and help Marcus's case. Yeah. And we've been dealing with you for the last 2 hours, and you keep beating around the bush. We come back in here, and you give us that runaround story again. How is that helping anybody? It's not. Exactly. So, how's that going to look in front of 12 people and a jury? Not too good. What's like when you get up on the stand and you sit there and swear in testimony to this, and you, oh no, hold on, sorry, prosecutor, I lied a while ago. Sorry, Your Honor, you know, the judge. Sorry, 12 people out here, I lied a while ago. That wouldn't work. I mean, if you want to go down, that's fine. That's all. Let me go down. That's all. If you want to go to jail, hey, we're not talking about jail. We're talking worse than jail. Okay, prison. No, we're talking worse than prison now. Okay. We're talking a lot worse than just going to prison. Trust me. You throwing out these facts about him getting killed, him getting this and this. We've never said all that. That's all you said. But it's all out of your mouth.
When I was sitting with him, I heard you guys talk about the funeral.
So? You manifested the killing yourself. How? Because you said he got killed. You said it earlier.
Okay, but I'm drawing clues together.
No, you're manifesting.
How am I manifesting?
That's what that is. You're manifesting a...
And I'll tell you what, Detective Jones is right. What's going to happen is,
He's going to crack on me.
he's going to say, he's not necessarily going to crack, he's going to pass the buck on you. You did it. He's going to say you did it. And when he says you did it, guess what? We got to believe that.
Yeah.
You're kind of friends with him, right? He's the kind of person, I consider him like a sociopath. He can't really have friends.
He just chooses to do that.
Exactly.
He's using you right now.
With almost 2 hours into the interrogation, William would finally crack under pressure, ensuring this time he'd tell detectives the truth. This is another notable moment when reviewing William's interrogation footage, as this is the 4th time he would proclaim his innocence.
That's the problem. You've been letting him use you. Now, it's up to you. Do you want to stand up for yourself, or you want to continue him to let you use you? It's up to you.
Stand for myself right now. I'm going to be truthfully honest with you right here. That night when we were playing chess, let's go back to that, I know. That we were playing chess, I don't even know what he did. I mean, he came in, he wanted to play chess, all this other stuff, and then he just left the room. I don't know what happened after that. I hadn't seen him for the rest of the night. I'm dead serious. I did not see him for the rest of the night.
Why do you do this? Why do you do this? I'm getting so ticked off. You know what? When I talked to you the other night, you seem like a good kid.
He ain't there for you. He's there for your sister. That's what he's there for. I mean, he is there, honestly, to flirt and do stuff with your sister and to mooch off you guys and live there as long as he wants to. And he's going to shag and go to a different house and do this exact same thing. That's what's going to happen.
Like he's done his whole life.
Do you want to say something you just don't know how to say it? Is that the problem?
Well, I'm trying to.
If you want to go down for Harley,
I don't want to go down.
y'all can share a cell together. We're just going to say that. If y'all want to be roomies in prison, that's fine. Y'all want to be roomies, try buds, whatever, but more power to you. If you're intimidated by him, if he's threatened you, drug you into something, then we can help you get up out of that. But as of right now, we can't help you because you're not helping us. Did Mark try to give you any money that night?
No, he did not.
Did he ask you if you wanted any money?
No, he did not.
You see any money in his pockets, wallet, anything?
Not from what I seen. When I looked, because when he got up, I looked at his pockets and they looked like they were empty and I didn't see he had a wallet on him.
Why'd you look at his pocket?
Because usually I look at people's feet before I look at him. Or usually when I look at somebody, I look at their feet first and then I look up. It's a thing I learned from school. When you talk to somebody, they usually look at your
So you're looking at his butt?
No.
William, let me tell you something. You're going to feel the hurt, the pain that you felt just a while ago right when you was going to tell me that. Ain't nothing what you're going to bear here in a little bit. You're going to go through some pain, some burn. You're going to be so heavy on your chest, you ain't going to be able to stand it. Do you want to live the rest of your life like this?
No.
You want to feel that burn every day? All night?
No.
Where you can't even eat? Every time you eat, man, that stomach hurts, everything else. Go to work, you going to be at work, be constantly in the back of your head this whole time. I mean, if that's what you want, that's what you're leaning toward. If you want to sit here and leave here, as soon as you get in that car, man, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's going to hit you hard. Well, I'm trying to help you here.
With all the psychological trauma weighing on William's mind, we witness a broken William essentially negotiating for his life. The interrogation audio cuts out around the 2-hour mark, leaving viewers to imagine what would happen next. Fortunately, the missing footage has since been recovered, and we will now witness the direct result of hours of coercion, eventually leading to a false confession.
All I know is I heard a vehicle start up, and then I left.
Did you leave with that vehicle?
No, I did not.
Who left with the vehicle?
It could that shit would have been somebody else.
Who left with the vehicle? Who left in that vehicle? You know who left in the vehicle? I know you know, because you're trying to tell me right now, but it's not coming out your mouth. Who left in that vehicle? Who left in the vehicle, William? Who left in the vehicle? What happened?
He took off.
What happened?
That was it.
What happened to Mark?
I don't know what happened to Mark.
What do you think happened to Mark?
I think that he got beat up or got beat to an inch of his life and was left for dead.
Why are you assuming this? Is that what Harley said? Did Harley say he beat up Mark? Say yes. You nodded your head. Did Harley say he beat up Mark? William? Simple question. Did Harley say he beat up Mark? Simple question. What else did he say?
That's all that he said.
William, where does the river come into play? You just said he got beat up and thrown in the river. Where does the river come into play? How do you know he took him in the river? He was there, wasn't he? Who is the one that hurt him?
Wasn't me.
Was it Harley?
Yes.
Where at? How do you hurt Mark?
He beat him up.
And then what?
Threw him in the river.
Where'd he beat him up at? You know as well as I do, Mark wasn't the type to get in a vehicle. He was hurt before he got in that vehicle. What happened? How many times did you hit Mark? Did you choke Mark?
No.
Harley?
Don't remember.
William? You keep looking at your hands. You touched Mark. The scars on your hand, those fresh cuts that you had, your hand was swollen up. You hit Mark. Did you hit Mark?
I don't remember.
William, you didn't remember. Did you choke Mark?
I don't remember.
William, I'm going to ask you again.
When I asked you if you hit Mark, you pretty well said yes with your body language. If you made an accident or if it was a mistake, and you was messing around or you two was playing, and things went south, I need to know every single detail. I don't remember. William, you do remember. You're trying not to remember. You're trying to shut it out, but you can't. I'm trying my best to recall it. You're looking at your hands. Okay? This is the hand that you hit Mark with. How many times did you hit Mark? I don't know. More than once? More than 5? It had to have been. I think that my hand would have been swollen.
This is a very notable moment in understanding the aftermath of a coerced confession. William begins to draw his conclusion not based off memory, based off information made readily available to him. He states, "It had to have been since my hands are swollen." Not once does William recall physically attacking Marcus in any way, shape, or form. William is simply going off of what detectives are telling him. This is a reoccurring theme that will transpire throughout the rest of this interrogation.
I was just fine with you hitting that in the face. His face or the torso. Who kicked him? I don't kick people. Did Harley kick him? Yes. Why? I don't know. Was he laying on the ground then? Yes. Who is the one that choked him? Wasn't me. Was it Harley? Yes. How did he choke him? His hands around his neck, choked him up. Do it to me. The way that you seen Harley do it. He did it like this. He choked him out like that. So he choked him from the front. Yes. Where did you guys beat Mark up at? Was it on the camera or side? I'm not, no, don't ask me. Where did you beat Mark up at? Was it at the kangaroo? He said you had my face on the video. He said that if... Where did you beat Mark up at? It had to be by the house. Because we couldn't have gotten that far by the time that I'm downstairs. How did Mark get in the van? I forced him out of his van. How? After we get him up. How did you force him out? Put him in the van. Where at in the van? In the backseat. Was he unconscious? Yes. Was he limp? Yes. Was he already dead at that point? No. How do you know he wasn't dead? I don't. Was he making any noises? Not that I know of. Was he gurgling? Was he saying anything? No. Who took his wallet? I did. Where's his wallet at now? I have no clue. Did Harley take his wallet? I don't remember. One of you all withdraw money from his account. I have my own account, but I don't want to have with me. Does Harley have his wallet? I don't know if Harley has a wallet or not. Does Harley have Mark's wallet? Yes. Where's it at? It's probably hidden somewhere in his room. Was Andrew in the van with you? No. Was Deidre in the van with you? No. How did you guys know where to go? Who else was in the van? I don't remember. William? Who else was in the van with you? There was you, Harley, Mark. There was someone else. Well, why did you guys do this? I don't remember. You do it for fun? You do it for robbing? I don't remember. Y'all did it for a reason. Would you just spur of the moment kind of fun thing, or what?
I wouldn't do anything to hurt anybody or do it for, just for fun.
Okay, so would you after his money because he had money?
I didn't know he had money at that point.
Okay, then why would you hit him?
I don't know.
Who's the one that picked him up out of the van and threw him in the river? Is this going to take more than just Harley? You by yourself?
No, it wasn't Harley. It was Strong's
What was Deidre doing?
driving the van.
She didn't get out and help? What happened to his water bottle that he had? The coffee bottle?
They don't know.
Who's the one that shoved the hat in his pocket?
And
Who's the one that shoved his hat in his pocket?
was Harley.
Are you sure?
It was me?
No, I said, are you sure?
I'm sure.
How'd he do that?
Took the half water up in his pocket.
Which pocket did he put it in?
That's right.
Point. I got a pencil. Point to what pocket the hat was in. Front right pocket.
Though William admits to having played a role in the death of Marcus Golike, the detective continues to press for details that will perfectly fit their narrative. So, they continue to inquire the same question, but this time less confrontational.
Do you think this got out of hand?
Yes.
What did you guys have to gain from this? Did it make you feel better that you actually killed a person?
No, it was horrible.
You realize you killed someone?
It makes me feel like shit. I never dreamed of killing a person at all. I didn't think I did it.
Do you not want to believe you did it?
I don't want to. I don't function that way. I would never hurt anybody, just for fun. I would barely hurt somebody if they made me mad.
But you hurt Mark. What about Deidre? Did she hurt him?
I don't know.
Did she punch him?
I can't recall.
Did she kick him?
No. It wasn't her.
Who was it then? Just you and Harley? Is there anything else you want to say?
No.
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I think what we have to do, William, let's go through it step by step and tell what happened, okay? All right. You know, more in detail as to what happened, okay? All right, you guys are playing chess. Start from there.
The detective decides to allow William to voluntarily detail his alibi after admitting to have direct involvement in Marcus's death. Had this been 3 hours ago, William's alibi would have been much different from what it is now. This goes to show the overall effect and fatigue the detective's tactics played on William. William begins to agree with the detectives, which eventually satisfies their needs. They end the interrogation, taking William's phone and wallet for further investigation.
Me and Mark were playing chess, and Harley came in and begged me that he could beat us off on chess. and I told him that we would play the next game. About 20 to 25 minutes after we got the game, Mark ended it. He surrendered because he couldn't see the board anymore.
Right.
Then after that, he walked over to the sink, washed eyes back around my salad bowl, put in a coffee container, filled it up with water.
Okay.
Spun it around, drank some of it, that he was leaving. I shook his hand, watched him leave, I went downstairs. I got woke up by Harley, said something about going out doing something. We got in the van, Deirdre got in the front seat, and we see Mark out on the street. We beat him up, tied him up, put him in the van, took him down to the river, shoved his hat in his pocket, discarded the water bottle, it's a coffee bottle, whatever it was, and threw in the river. Me and Marley.
Okay. Let's back up. When you came up on Mark, do you know where it was?
No,
Which way did you leave your house? Do you recall?
towards the west side of town, towards 41.
Okay. How far did you get?
It's not that far.
Go ahead and go into detail to clarify it for everybody, okay?
Clarify.
But who said what? Let's go do something.
Harley said let's go do something.
Right, you got in the van, you drove past Weinbach. You saw Mark. And what was said?
I can't remember.
You know about what was said? Doesn't have to be exact.
I can't remember what was said.
Why did you guys decide to stop?
We see Mark on the street, we were to say hi, and then it started to get out of hand.
No, see, there's where I'm confused. We got to be very clear on this. It started getting out of hand. How did it get out of hand? Like, then what happened? He's down, he's unconscious. Then what'd you guys do?
We got scared, and then we picked him up, put him in the van. We drove down the river, under the river.
Let's slow up. You put him in the van, in the front seat, captain seats.
Put him in the back.
Okay.
Now, earlier you said something about tying him up. Where did that take place? Yeah, with what?
I can't remember. All I know is I just tied up. That's all I remember.
Who tied him up? Who tied him up?
Was it Andrea?
I don't know if it was Andrew.
I think she was there. She was there, wasn't she?
I don't know.
She was there.
William, who tied him up? Who tied him up? Me. And? Harley. And? Did she? What'd you tie him up with?
Sheets or something.
Sheets. How did sheets get in the van? They were already there. How'd you tie him up?
Tied him like this one. Try to stick together.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. What color are the sheets?
I don't know the necessary color.
Did you tie him tight or loose or? Okay. Did he ever regain consciousness or kick or fight again? Or try to get out? Didn't. Right. Alright, so now we've got him located in the van. And then what'd you guys decide to do at that point?
We were scared, so we just scared.
No, you're skipping one. You're skipping one. You guys are here. You gotta be talking. You gotta be telling something. You gotta be planning something on what to do here. You guys realize probably done something that was a mistake, and you don't want to get caught. What do you do? What do you guys talk about?
Yeah, they dumped the body somewhere.
That's what you talked about? And then where'd you go? Or who came up with the idea? Just down there in the river?
To hide the body somewhere.
To hide the body? Okay. Who came up with the idea to put him in the river?
William. Whose idea was it to put him in the river? William.
And you're telling me everything, you're telling me the truth? Whose idea was it to go dump him in the river? Or you guys dumped him at?
Harley.
Why was it Harley's idea to dump him there?
Because we were saying that they were trying to find a place to dump the body, and you said the easiest place to dump it would be the river. It's open area. It's easy for them to toss in and get rid of the kind.
Was it Harley's idea or someone else's? Whose idea was it to take it to the river?
It wasn't mine.
I want to ask you, whose idea was it to take him to the river?
William eventually confesses to taking part in Marcus's death. He was originally sentenced to 40 years in prison, but it wasn't until 7 months later where William's family would file a lawsuit against Evansville's police department and the chief medical examiner for coercing a false confession and a false autopsy. During a 2-year thorough investigation, there has been no activity on Marcus's bank account, no indication of Marcus even owning a debit or credit card, no surveillance footage showing the van or teenager at the said location in the confession, no DNA, no blood, no hair follicles, nothing. Details of Marcus's overall health would eventually come to light, revealing Marcus being diagnosed with schizophrenia and had threatened to jump off the bridge in the same river multiple times before in the past, some to which Detective Wise and Jones had been present. The teens were eventually acquitted of the crime and all charges had been dropped. Harley would eventually be remanded into custody, having a violent outbreak in public. He even went as far as threatening the arresting officers, saying he was going to slit their throat. He is currently being held on a $70,000 bond. As for Marcus's family, they believe Marcus was murdered, and signs of foul play were clearly present. They believe William's confession to be too specific and impossible to fabricate under these conditions. No one was charged in the death of Marcus Golike, and his death had been ruled a suicide. Special thanks to my channel members.